Since 2017, the Italian Wine Podcast has exploded, recently hitting 6 million listens. Support us by buying a copy of Italian Wine Unplugged 2.0 or making a small donation. In return, we'll give you the chance to nominate a guest and even win lunch with Stevie Kim and Professor Attilio Scienza. Find out more at italianwinepodcast.com. Chin chin!
Welcome to the Italian Wine Podcast. I'm Cynthia Chaplin, and this is Voices. Every Wednesday, I will be sharing conversations with international wine industry professionals, discussing issues in diversity, equity, and inclusion through their personal experiences working in the field of wine. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and rate our show wherever you get your pods. Hello, and welcome to Voices. Today, I am happy to welcome back Silvia Ghirelli to Voices. Silvia was chosen once again by Wine Around, a sponsor of wine2wine Business Forum, to talk about the importance of wine tourism as a driving force for wine sales. So welcome back to Voices, Silvia. We spoke last year at Wine2Wine. It's great to have you back on the show.
Oh, thank you, Cynthia. I am really like to be here again.
Perfect. Well, you are a hugely experienced consultant in wine. You've worked for lots of very well-known wineries in Italy. So I'm wondering, in your opinion, how big a role does wine tourism play in wine sales since the pandemic?
Wow. Wine tourists have a new approach now, which is expressed in a new awareness of wine and its contents. And the new interest is in the intangible value, such as the culture behind, the sustainability, the ethics of the winery. And I think that now the visit will therefore become an educational and communication moment of the company vision, which are one of the reasons behind the decision to buy a bottle and consumer loyalty. I think that throughout the experience, the tourists become ambassadors of the winery visited, and they share with friends and family the picture and the videos and what they saw and tasted, and also making them taste the product that they purchased. So I think that now, thanks to the new technology, which became familiar during the pandemic, the effect of the visit could continue at home by joining loyalty programs, for example, such as Wine Club, and also through the e-commerce, people can buy bottles more easily. So hospitality and tourism become really important in this way.
Okay, well, I think you're onto something there. I think all of that is definitely growing. Do you think Italian wineries are doing enough to attract foreign visitors? You know, what could Italian wineries be doing better? What do you think the most important components of a successful wine tourism project could be?
I think that now wine tourism is increasingly demanding. They look for places with beauty and beautiful landscape, culture and tradition, a welcoming local community, as well as a quality food and wine offering. They search for new food, new recipes, new experiences. They like to explore. They love to connect different sectors, shopping, sport, and food and wine consumption. So I think the future is based on the uniqueness, the emotionality of the experience you offer, that should be in harmony with the environment in which you are. And I think that creativity and a continuous innovation will be the mantra for wineries to grow.
Well, I think that's definitely a very important point that you touched on. Tourists are increasingly demanding, and they want more for their money. As you say, they don't want to just visit the winery, taste 3 wines, and go away. They want to have food. They want to connect with the vineyard and the landscape and other things they can do in the area. So very, very important components of successful wine tourism is including all these bits and pieces. Do you think Italian wineries are beginning to understand the work that they have to do to create attractive wine tourism projects?
I think they start to think about, but they need to have a more professional approach, to have maybe some training on this, on hospitality, on tourism in general, because sometimes the producer of wine, they really know how to produce good wine, but it's not the same to do a great job in hospitality. So,
well, I think that's all true. Just because you're a great winemaker doesn't mean that you are great at welcoming guests and making them happy and excited. So that's a good point. There's also, you touched on it briefly, that topic of sustainability and connecting to the land and knowing what's in our wine. Sustainability has become a really hot topic for wine consumers all over the world. How do you think the concept of sustainability fits into wine tourism now? What do visitors want to see? How can wineries meet the challenge of showing that they are sustainable?
Well, sustainability is an essential value in its full social meaning. I think the companies that educate the consumer and make them part of an improvement process will win. Sustainability to reduce environmental, social, and economic impact require awareness and sensitivity. And be sustainable means taking care of yourself, loved ones, but also of your community. And sustainability can be a powerful driver of choice. It guides people consumer decision from primary goods to tourism. It's essential, therefore, to communicate what is being done for the environmental point of view and for the local community, so people can really choose you in their choice.
Well, that's right. I think making sure that the message comes out from each winery, how they are incorporating sustainability, will help attract more tourists to whom that concept is really important. So what innovations have you seen in wine tourism in Italy in the past few years? What are wineries and trip organizers doing to reach a bigger, broader audience of people outside of Italy?
I think that a real recent innovation is the awareness that the journey, the travel doesn't not end with the journey. So the never-ending tourism is a trend destined to grow, and company and destination that want to intercept it will have to invest in digitalization. I think that is important to understand that there is a before and an after that become element of the experience. And the new technology will increasingly offer access to important resources to decide and organize the trip, but also during the visit, during your trip, a company can offer information about, for example, the philosophy of production, the data about the wine, or the technique adopted to impact less on the environment. Then, after the visit, technologies and digitalization allow to share experiences and increase loyalties to the company that you visit, and maintain and improve the relationship over time. I think that with the help of digital technology, the winery will establish a relationship with tourism that is really an opportunity for collect data, for earn exchange, not at the end to improve the selling process.
That's so interesting. I like the concept that the experience doesn't end with the visit. It's actually sort of starting with the visit, and it's up to the winery to make sure that the experience continues after the tourists have gone back home again. So that's a very interesting point. I haven't heard it put quite that way before.
Are you enjoying this podcast? Don't forget to visit our YouTube channel, Mama Jumbo Shrimp, for fascinating videos covering Stevie Kim and her travels across Italy and beyond, meeting winemakers, eating local foods, and taking in the scenery. Now, back to the show.
I'm wondering, while we're talking about technology and digitalization, things like that, do you see any differences between older wine tourists and younger Gen Z or millennial wine tourists? What sort of things set them apart? What kind of experiences are they looking for that wine tourism didn't provide in the past?
I think this is a really important question, as it is more and more necessary for the manager, for wine manager, to create different proposals by target based on the trends. With reference to wine tourism, younger people prefer to participate in wine events, festivals. Millennials and boomers, for example, follow thematic itineraries, while seniors are more attracted to classic visit to the winery. Young tourists seems to love more the idea to link different sector, art, well-being, wine. They search for a communication focus on a real corporate sustainability. They want to be involved in the good practices of the company and in the action for social and environmental improvement. So different age and the offer will win for sure.
That's true. I think understanding the consumer base and the differences between all of these various groups of consumers. I think if a winery can understand that there are several types of consumers out there, they can start making experiences to attract more people. So that's a very interesting point, what new consumers want versus what old consumers want. And I know you've got such a strong background in public relations as well, and you've worked with lots of famous wineries such as Petra and Ornellaia and Masseto. What do you think PR contributes to the success of wine tourism? How should wineries harness a more powerful PR presence to drive their sales forward?
I think the attitude to develop relationship and understand people is extremely important to develop a successful wine tourist offer. It's necessary to have a new interpretation of PR in a modern way by the winery. That is fundamental to improve visions and strategies and to build a destination or a tourist product in an innovative way, combining creativity and passion. I think the winery should increasingly present itself as an ambassador of a territory, of a society whose attractiveness depends on its ability to generate value for the tourists, but also for the resident and for the whole community connected too. So my suggestion is always to build relationship among the stakeholder of the territory in order to create a wine destination through a collaborative network with the tourist supply chain, in the logic of creating an attractive cultural district more than a simple destination, and therefore a better and more effective enjoyment of the wine experiences.
And do you think Italian wineries are understanding that need to be ambassador for their whole territory, not just for their wine?
I think they start to do something in this direction with the consortio, but for selling product, not really speak about a territory or in terms of tourism flow. So I think there are opportunities to grow in that sense.
And is that something that you look into doing and helping wineries connect with other parts of their territory?
Yeah, that's really something that starting from I always help wineries to structure themselves before with the people, training the people, but then to really build relationship with the territory and with all the tourist supply chain, because that's really important. With the other wineries that want to do hospitality, with hotels, resorts, with restaurants, with tourism offices and transportation. That's the only way to really have collaborative environment. And if you are able to do this, you can have really an attractive cultural district in a way that is not anymore a problem of a competition, but you are able to collaborate in the same direction. And I always think that if you work well, but by yourself in a territory, and you are not able to build a destination. And so I think that in general, public relations in this sense are really important.
Yeah, I agree with you. I completely agree with you. And especially for this sort of new era of wine tourists who want to make their visit to a territory sort of multi-experiential, not just about wine. They want to be involved in other things. So collaborating instead of feeling that you might lose your tourist to some other person's business in your territory, collaborating is going to be the way forward. I completely agree. I want to ask you, sort of along these same lines, we're looking at the future of wine tourism. We're talking about what Italian wineries need to do to improve and to attract more visitors. How has AI and social media and online information affected wine tourism in recent years? What do you think is coming in the future with this? Do you have a dream of sort of a perfect wine tourism experience? And is it going to include AI and social media and all of these other elements that people are so involved with at the moment?
Well, I think that the future is really to integrate the direct experience with digitalization and adding to a well-established storytelling, the innovative communication, for example, through gamification or emotional podcasts, or, for example, Instagram will also acquire relevance because food and wine influencer will continue to be a source of inspiration for the choice of destination. And I think that the act of sharing appears a trend also in a rural hospitality. So I think also that the world lived in a pandemic has acquired cooperation as a new value, giving the birth of new human relationship and new tourist segment, which want to experience a human relationship and connect with people who live the context. So yeah, it's important to include new technology, but it's also important to integrate them with reality.
I think that's going to be harder than we imagine, but it's already here. So I think we're all going to be learning to work with it and make it a positive impact on everything that we do in the wine sector. So it's interesting to hear your thoughts on all of these things. And I want to thank you so much for coming on today and chatting with me about wine tourism, how it's changed even just in the past year since we talked last year. And I want to thank Wine Around, and Wine Around's being a great sponsor for Wine2wine Business Forum, which will be held here in Verona on the 13th and 14th of November. So tickets are still available for that. And I'm hoping that you'll be coming, Silvia. I'm looking forward to seeing our guests and all of our speakers there. And I'm very grateful that we had time to have this chat today. So thank you very much.
It was a pleasure for me. Thanks to you, to Wine2wine, and to Wine Around for that opportunity. And see you soon.
Thank you for listening, and remember to tune in next Wednesday when I'll be chatting with another fascinating guest. Italian Wine Podcast is among the leading wine podcasts in the world and the only one with a daily show. Tune in every day and discover all our different shows. You can find us at ItalianWinePodcast.com, SoundCloud, Spotify, Himalaya, or wherever you get your pods.